The UAE has shared a map on X, formerly known as Twitter. This map shows the connectivity between India, West Asia, and Europe. I'm talking about the India, Middle East, and Europe corridor. This map that has been shared by the UAE has snubbed Pakistan because it has shown rightly so that PoK is a part of India. This map is basically showing how India will be connected with West Asia and Europe. But Pakistan says that why are you showing it as a part of India when PoK is UN recognized internationally disputed territory? From the perspective of GS Mains Paper 2, it is important for us to understand all this in detail. From the perspective of prelims, certain facts are going to be important. Make sure that you do not make any sort of notes because I provide the notes through the form of PDF through my Telegram channel that is by the name of Pooja Dwivedi UPSC. If you have any queries regarding this examination, you can also talk to me on my Instagram and follow me on Threads. So Pakistan is miffed over UAE, which has included PoK in India. The India, Middle East, Europe corridor, which is going to rival China's Belt and Road Initiative, the iron brother of Pakistan. Pakistan is not happy that India is being now rightly accepted in its entirety because of India's growing position, as we all saw in the G20, because of its trade relations with countries such as UAE and Saudi Arabia. Pakistan's narrative is now being rendered useless. And let's talk about India, Middle East, and Europe corridor. This transport corridor is an alternative to China's Belt and Road Initiative, and it was launched in the G20 during the G20 under India's presidency. However, we have to keep in mind that all the G20 members are not included in it right now. So, India, with ports, with the help of its ports, will be connected to West Asia. West Asia will be connected with rail links, and thereafter, West Asia will be connected again with ports towards, of course, European region. It has two parts, East Corridor and Northern Corridor. East Corridor will connect India to the Gulf countries and Northern Corridor will connect Europe. So this will become a part of the transition, or we can say the shifting of the global world order right now. This is also being touted as the modern spice route because in erstwhile times, earlier times, traders, Arab traders and other traders used to take this particular route to trade in spices, specifically from the country of India and rest of the South Asia. So India, Middle East, European corridor. This gives India a lot of heft in the current geopolitical situation. But we see that UAE has not been the only country in the Gulf to accept India's position. It was also Saudi Arabia in 2020 when it provided a note, and this note actually showed that PoK is a part of India, and thereafter Saudi Arabia's relationship with India has been, bettering itself since the current coming of the current government without any hiatus. So many countries in the Gulf have now started accepting India's position. And of course, that is because of India's own balancing act. India never took sides, be it Israel Palestine, be it the rivalry in the Gulf, be it Russia Ukraine. So, this balancing act is giving India a lot of weightage. When we do not speak in your matters, you shouldn't speak in ours. Whatever bilateral issues we have, we will solve it with our neighbor. Now, this comes as a surprise because at a program which was organized by Pakistan, Organization of Islamic Countries, of which UAE is also a part, along with Saudi Arabia, it asked India to restore Kashmir's special status, that is Article 370. Why should we? Because it is our country. It is our country, it is our land. Who are you to question us in any of these matters? Moving on. Al Jazeera is also not happy since many times, it has pointed out that Saudi Arabia and UAE, they have failed, quote unquote, failed to condemn India over Kashmir. Kashmir is our land. Kashmir is our part. It's a part of India. Do we ever ask or condemn any situation that goes on in another country? And does Al Jazeera ask countries such as India to condemn any other issue that is going on in a separate land. So Al Jazeera has been of that matter. The West, perspective of the West should change with the changing times. And India has tried to change it. With its growing economic prowess, with its growing emerging situation as the voice of the global south. Right now, recently, at our initiative, from the very beginning, African Union became a part of the G20, although China did try to undercut this success as well. But India has time and again showed that it is actually playing a part of the solution and not the problem. Moving on, let's talk about the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. We will call it Pakistan occupied Kashmir because yes, Pakistan did occupy it illegally. After we were already in terms with Maharaja Hari Singh under the instrument of accession, Pakistan should have left that territory out of its illegal occupation. So when India became independent, what happened? There were certain regions which were not ready to join in either India or Pakistan or remain as status quo. That means their position should not change. They could have become an independent nation amongst themselves because that was the Indian Independence Act of 1947, which gave the powers to certain princely states. If you want to remain independent, you can do so. Kashmir was also one of them. But the narrative was so in favor of India that it was about to be a part of India through a plebiscite. But Pakistan did not like it. Pakistan couldn't come in terms with the fact that India's position in Kashmir is strong. Through a plebiscite, it is very likely that it will become an integral part of India. So, they through Pashtun tribes invaded Jammu and Kashmir. And when they did so, Maharaja Hari Singh signed an instrument of accession, and this instrument of accession gave India the right over Kashmir. Certain matters were left out to Maharaja Hari Singh, but defense was one of the major things that were a part of the instrument of accession, that India would defend this particular territory in case of foreign invasion. So India did that. But what happens? That certain regions remained under Pakistan's illegal occupation. So we have the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. There is a part known as Azad Kashmir. And then there are northern parts, which is Gilgit, Baltistan. So Azad Kashmir is ruled by a legislation. Under a legislation, it does have a president, a prime minister, but still for even the smallest of the things, it is dependent on Pakistan. This region, Gilgit-Baltistan region, was surrendered by the leaders of Azad Kashmir through the Karachi Agreement 1949. And this region, which is the Shaksgam Tract, which technically is a part of the Shikar region of Ladakh, was ceded by Pakistan to China. It's like I steal an iPhone from you and then I gift it to another person. This is what Pakistan did. Shaksgam Tract is also ours because when the instrument of accession was signed, this entire region was mentioned in the instrument of accession because the Jammu and Kashmir region was a part of colonial India. Alright, so this is what happened. Do you also know that there was a ruler in the Shaksgam Tract as well? The Raja of Shigar controlled this land until 1971. Even if the Shaksgam Tract was given to China in 1963, there was a Raja, but he was dethroned by Pakistan itself. And there are many important mountain ranges, mountain peaks over here, such as Broad Peak, Kashirbam and Mashirbam. So this is the actual bifurcation and trifurcation that has been done in our land. Alright, Maharaja Hari Singh acceded Kashmir to us, and after that in 2019 we made Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh to separate union territories. Moving on. After accession, the Indian part of the Jammu and Kashmir has followed a democratic path like we always do for the rest of the country. But Azad Jammu and Kashmir and northern areas, that is Gilgit and Baltistan, have their own legislation, as I told you. AJK is governed under the Azad Kashmir Interim Constitution Act of 1974. It has a president, a prime minister, council, everyone is there, but for the smallest of the things, it is dependent on Pakistan. Then we have the Karachi Agreement, which surrendered, which made the leaders of the Azad Kashmir surrender Gilgit and Baltistan region. And the president, that was done under the president of Azad Kashmir, the Muslim Conference, and a minister without portfolio from Pakistan, Mushtaq Ahmad Gurmani. Alright, so now as I talk to you, I will ensure that you know that what an economic heft means. Economically, countries in the Gulf wouldn't ever want to be friends with somebody whose trade relations, who's not capable of maintaining trade relations with them. Because it's all about economic heft. Even China said that once you grow in economic prowess, then you flex your muscles. What China has done was never at all predicted by the analysts. And China did it despite there were many naysayers to its position. And India is now doing the same. Although India's polity is very different from China. That is why it is taking India longer time than China to develop properly. And you cannot deny that. See, with UAE and Saudi Arabia, these two countries in the Gulf, India's trade is constantly growing, so much so that UAE is our third largest trading partner and Saudi Arabia second. In 2022, Saudi Arabia became the country which hired the highest number of Indians among the other Gulf countries. UAE, with them, we are having trade relations in many areas. Not only energy, but renewable energy as well. Not only in renewable energy, but IT sectors, pharmaceuticals, cultural, many types of relationship are being maintained under one particular roof. From receiving the highest honors when our prime minister goes in these countries to receiving them with state honors, everything is being done. Why? Because it is time when economic relationship, they gain much more importance than just microscopic narratives that Pakistan is still holding. Pakistan is still attached to Kashmir. Pakistan will never let go of Kashmir. Why? Because of the army. The army doesn't want the people to understand the actual situation. It is the army that always wants one sort of enemy so that army's relevance can be maintained. How will the army remain relevant in Pakistan? It will remain relevant only when Pakistan has a threat. Who should be the threat? India should be the threat. So army will never let go of the issue of Kashmir because it wants to remain relevant. Do you really believe that democracy is working in Pakistan? No, it is the army's rule. Garbed as democracy, Pakistan is actually working under army's narrative. And the people have now started to know it. And that is why they are calling for major reforms. Soon, soon enough, we are going to see a heavy civil war in Pakistan. That is for sure. When there is an economic vacuum, when there is lack of employment opportunities, the people will start taking out their anger on the government. A civil war, if it is there, it's not good for India at all. Because refugee crises, terrorism, smuggling, counterfeit currency, these all are tangential issues that will grow out of it. Moving on. Now, what is this particular snub? And how is this particular snub going to help India? First of all, it is going to enhance our narrative. Our own narrative that PoK and Aksai Chin both are a part of India. The part which can never be severed from India under any circumstances. When Gulf countries start to accept it, when people or countries from the Muslim world start to accept it, it will denounce the narrative that is going on against in India from the West. By the West, we see it that India is an oppressor of minorities. That's not true. Independent vision. It will help India get an independent vision from different countries. Most of the countries who will want to maintain relationship with India would do it on the grounds of trade, economy, culture, soft power, and not how India works in PoK. How India democratically is trying to integrate PoK. Also, bilateral issue, whatever our issues are there with Pakistan, it will be solved bilaterally and not, we do not ever want the suggestion of third parties. This has been our stance. We have followed this stance and this will remain our stance. Diplomatic wins, these are very small but piecemeal but diplomatic wins. Small pieces will stick together and it will give a vision to a larger picture that how many countries now who should be, if you think from the perspective of religion, should not be dealing with India on the grounds that India is an oppressor of minorities. They are trading with India. They are maintaining high, good kind of relationship with India. So I do not think that this would be a problem in the future. Once piecemeal movement starts to take place, then a larger movement will take place. Then improve trade ties with many countries. If we are not having good relationship with them, they might also want to join India's basket sooner or later. Like right now, we are not in very good terms with Canada for two reasons. First of all, the denial of visas to those army personnel who were working or who had been working in Jammu and Kashmir. And because they have to open up about where they were posted. And also, of course, the Khalistani issue. When these kind of issues overshadow the actual growth aspects, frosty relationship will be there that India has with Canada right now. It will also render Pakistan's own narrative worthless. If Pakistan's narrative that it is a bilateral, it is an internationally disputed territory, this gets defeated, then Pakistan will have very little relevance in the world. Right now, its relevance is maintained only on the issue of Kashmir. At every juncture, you will see it calling out India for Kashmir. But it never wants to talk to India, diplomatically doesn't want to solve anything. It just wants to play the victim card, that how India has victimized Pakistan over Kashmir. So that is why it is important to understand the current situation, the situation that our country will grow into in the future, and the past situation, how we are changing over time. So I hope you understood it. Also, there is a practice question for you. You can answer it in the comment segment. Consider the following statements with respect to India Middle East Europe Transport Corridor. It is a project comprising of ports, railway links, and could be further developed to transport energy through pipelines and data through optical fiber link. Mediterranean pipelines will be included in India Middle East Europe Corridor. So which of the statements given above is or are correct? One only, two only, both one and two, neither one nor two. Answer this question. I will take your names in the upcoming class. Thank you so much.